Yikes, am I live? Let me know if you can hear me, folks. Oi, I gotta grab my hat. I feel naked without my hat. Ooh. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Yeah. Now I'm good to go. All right. Hey, let's have a cup of coffee and a donut. I got mine. Do you have yours? I could see the reflection of my, computer screen in my glasses. That's fun, right? 2001: A Space Odyssey. Dan is live from the basement of his home in Bye Bye City Leyte. Let me move this out of the way. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I'm in the step down studio bedroom in the fabulous Bye Bye City House. Yeah, I'm not in the bedroom today. I'm in the make believe office. So lighting was a tiny bit better here, and so and besides that, man, Minnie kicked me out. No, just kidding. Let's see who all's here today. Let's see who's all here today. Larice, the Philippines' most eligible bachelorette and ladder climbing socialite, lives 3 hours from Manila. Maybe I shared too much information there, Larice. I do apologize. It's coffee and donut time. I have the coffee, but unfortunately, no donuts. I have Pandasol. Pandasol is incoming. They take care of me very well at the house in Bye Bye City Leyte. They treat me as though I'm some kind of a king. Lazy Larry Lee, how you be? Let's have a cup of coffee and talk crap. Aileen Cruz Official is here. Anna May Reyes, welcome. Good morning to you. Yeah, it's a big cup of coffee. As a matter of fact, this was my 6:00 cup, and it's dwindling down, and I'm going to have to pause in a moment, and I'm going to have to go find me another cup of coffee. I might just yell out the door, "Ma'am, Minnie, where's the coffee cup?" Anna May Reyes, good morning. Yes, indeed. Oh, it's kind of, hey, by the way, it's not too warm down here. It stays cool in this basement thing because there's a room upstairs. So it's a small house, but really, my brother-in-law, he was pretty innovative in the way that he set it up. I really appreciated it because Minnie and I, we weren't around when this house was being built. We were communicating and watching the house being built via video. And then if I saw something I liked or I didn't like, then I would send information through, through Messenger saying, "Hey, Jill, can you let them know to do this? Or what do you think about that?" And then Joe would do the same, saying, "Hey, we could put 2 rooms here. We could put a storage room up there and an office down here, or we could put a bedroom here and a bedroom there, or we could just do whatever we want." And I was like, wow, I like that. So that's where I'm at today. I'm in the basement. You guys probably can hear the the crows crowing and the dogs barking because the neighborhood is starting to awaken. You know what that sounds like if you're in the Philippines. You know, if you're in the States, it's gunshots. That's how you get woken up. If you're here in the Philippines, it's crows crowing and dogs barking. That's just the way it is. You know, I make no apologies for crows crowing. Thanks for sharing, Aileen Cruz Official. I appreciate it. And Anime Reyes. Anime, I'll be coming to Cebu pretty soon again. I'll tell you more about that in a little while. Good morning, Bryce. How are you? I like Bryce. I love Bryce's channel when I get a chance to watch. Hey, she can sing and her guests can sing. And I really, you know, whenever I want to fantasize about whether I can sing or not, I go into Bryce's channel and I watch them enjoying themselves. Yeah, that's right. But hey, you know, lately I've been watching a lot of news. You know, I've been watching the news channel. I know I shouldn't be doing that. Retired people should not be watching the news. Yeah. Coffee and donuts, the breakfast of champions. Yeah. Yes, indeed. All right, so what do we got to talk about today? Well, you know, I always have something that I want to say about something, right? And so things caught my attention. LV Rose is here. LV Rose. That's a beautiful name. And it's shared to the universe. Yeah, it's shared to the universe. And now that it's out there, I hope we don't implode. Big Bang Theory style. Starting to get cold. Hey, so I missed my mark because I was sitting here fooling around with my gadgets over here. I got gadgets over here. So here's what happened this morning. So my video editor, we got a couple computers. You guys by now know the computer story, so I won't rehash that. But we got all the computers up and running, and I come in this morning to set everything up, you know, just to make sure, you know, do voice check, sound check, picture check, all the checks, right? Write a check. And and then all of a sudden, you know, I realized that I can't log into the computer because I'm not the administrator. My video editor, Miss V, locked up this computer. You know, there probably is an easy way to sign her out and then sign myself in, but I'm not set up as a profile on this computer. So I had to run over way across the house, you know, a 40-mile walk. No, I'm just kidding about that. It's a small house. It's not a mansion. It's not even 2 stories, although it does have high ceilings. Anyway, I had to go over to the bedroom and grab my little 14-inch laptop, bring it in here, hook up the microphone and the camera, and I didn't even have a chance to check it before I went live at 7:01. So I'm late, but Larice, you're never late. So, but Dan was late by 1 minute. 1 minute. Dan was 1 minute off the mark. I do apologize. I hope you don't unsubscribe from my channel because I was a minute late. But yeah, Cebu's a nice place. And Anime, we're going to be visiting Mactan area. Well, we'll be visiting everything. You have to come into Mactan in order to see, you know, all what's going on there. Yeah, I forgot you're in Manila. I thought I get everybody mixed up from time to time. You're in Manila. Egg, yeah, I had egg this morning for breakfast, as a matter of fact. What? You have egg on your face, Larice. What did you do? No. Yeah, so let's talk about that plan, as a matter of fact. Since you guys are all here, we're all amongst friends here. So, as you know, it's been raining like crazy here all over the Philippines. I mean, like crazy. Where's Tim? Tim can testify to this. Let me make some adjustments since I came running in here. I wasn't able to make many adjustments. So anyway, it's been raining, and there are things to do here in Bye Bye. There are things to do, but from time to time, when you're coming off a fast-paced city like Bangkok, Thailand, and you're making that transition to Bye Bye City, which is a much slower pace. It's difficult to make that adjustment right away. It takes a while. It takes a while to make the adjustment. Let me fix my shirt here. Yeah. Oh, that's a shadow. Okay, me and my shadow. All right. So it takes a while to make this adjustment. So I think we've been here for almost a month, through the month of February. And Minnie and I have been talking about this for a long time. We've been talking about having an apartment on the mainland. I mean, there's no mainland really. Everything is an island, right? I said the mainland, right? Well, if you say the mainland, you're most likely talking about, Mactan or Cebu City or Manila, something like that, I guess. Well, anyway, we've done a couple of experiments by just taking impromptu trips across the water to see how easy it is to get from Bye Bye City Leyte over to Cebu, and it's fairly easy. We're doing well. How are you, Bryce? So anyway, it's fairly easy to just pack a few things in a backpack and sling it over your shoulder and then head across the water to Cebu. You're in Cebu. If you take the fast ferry, aside from the bus ride to get to Ormoc, it would take about 3 hours to get across the water, give or take. But if you take the overnight ferry, which actually is becoming my method or mode of transportation of choice, then you just walk a couple blocks over here to the overnight ferry, the Lapu-Lapu. You like that name, Lapu-Lapu? You guys know the Lapu-Lapu. And you jump on there, you get a bunk, and you could get fancy and you could get AC if you want to, right? But otherwise, Jax Vibes is here. Hi, Jax. Otherwise, it takes you an extra, 4 or 5 hours to get over to Cebu. What's the big whoop? It takes me an hour. It takes me maybe 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how the crow flies, to get from Bye Bye City to Ormoc to get the fast ferry. But if we wait for the night ferry, all we got to do is hang out at the Dunkin', eat donuts, drink coffee, or hang out at Mang Inasal, or go over to Mayon, or even the 7-Eleven, hang out in front like a vagrant, drink coffee, wait for the night ferry to depart. I'm not sure exactly what time it departs. I think it starts boarding at 4 p.m. maybe, or maybe it even departs at 4 p.m. I can't remember. I'm getting old. Well, anyway, you get on that bad boy, and that's all there is to it. The next thing you know, you wake up. If not in my case, because I have insomnia because I drink too much Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Anyway, you wake up, and then you take that ferry across, and you're good to go. You're refreshed, except that you're wandering the streets of Cebu at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's the only problem with that. But they don't kick you off the ship at 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it gets there, right? You can hang around. They have a snack bar. They got milk, cereal. You could have corn flakes. You could drink coffee, or you get off at Pier 4 and go over to the 7-Eleven and get yourself a rice meal breakfast. Because I've had tocino and rice over there. I've had tocino and rice and coffee. Everything is fine, and I could just hang around. Beth is in the house. Beth, I almost passed you by without saying good morning. Hi, Beth. Thanks so much for being there. You're number one. Don't ever change. Larice, don't get jealous. And Monet Cap. How are you, Monet Cap? You're showing up a lot in my comment section and my live streams. Thank you so much for being there. Larry says hi. Hello, Beth. And good morning, doll. It is exactly 7:16 in the morning, and the traffic is moderate. Traffic's moderate. Let me check the weather. Cloudy with a chance of rain in the afternoon. A little Filipino joke. Cloudy with a chance of rain. That's the weather report for the entire Philippines. Listen. I probably will be giving the traffic and the weather reports during the live streams from now on. Where was I? You see how I just start going off 10 different directions? All right, so let's talk about what I want to talk about today. I am talking about what I want to talk about today. All right, so I covered the computer. I sent a message to my my video editor, an upside down happy face, saying that, gosh, we spent all this time. Yeah, we spent all this time. We spent all this time setting it up, with the boom mic and all this. But hey, I wasn't able to use that computer this weekend, but I will next weekend, I'm almost sure. That has a little bit larger screen, 15.6. The one I'm using right now has like a 14 something, it's a little tiny screen, but it's way better than using this phone, By the way, my cell phones have been wigging out, they've been wigging out. Oh, Larice, I do apologize. No need to resurrect yourself. There's no need to have a resurrection. Good morning, Beth. Oh my gosh. You're killing me, Larice. You're killing me this morning. All right. So listen. If you've noticed my profile on dating apps or porn sites, I've been hacked. I've been hacked. I just want to let you know. Yeah, someone told me, Dan, you haven't been hacked. You are a hack. All right. So the topic for today, now that I've done the traffic and the weather report, if in case you missed it, moderate traffic and the weather is I can hardly get by talking for 10 minutes without taking a sip of coffee. And the weather reports is, cloudy with a chance of showers in the afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, need I remind you, this is a tropical island. It's a series of 7,000 plus tropical islands. We get tropical weather here. But Leyte and other parts of the Philippines have been getting bombarded with rainstorm after rainstorm after rainstorm. And it's difficult to deal with when you're coming off of being in Bangkok, Thailand, and Pattaya, where they didn't have a single drop of rain in something like a month and a half, right? It just rained there the other day, right? We weren't there, of course. We were here raining. So that means that I came from, hanging out at the nude beach with Mam Minnie, all the way to being drowned in torrential rains overnight. So that brings up the Cebu thing, right? So actually, it not only brings up the Cebu thing, but possibly the Luzon Island idea also. So here's the idea. I've been talking with Mam Minnie about us getting an apartment in Cebu for quite a while, almost since before we came here. The plan was to have the house in the province here in Bye-Bye City. People say province, but I got to tell you something. This is turning into a metropolis, a big city. The only way to show this to you is I should go down to the Dunkin' Donuts, who Brent from Beekeeping in Paradise, who also lives here, calls the Dunkin' Donuts the Bye-Bye City branch of the United States Embassy. So it's so funny because you go in there, but I know exactly where Brent is coming from, because if you go in there, you're going to see people packing the place, and they're all expats, right? They're all expats and their wives hanging out, telling lies to each other. There's that lie thing, Larry. um, on to each other, for about a couple of hours every day. That is the most exciting moment of our day, except if you're going to Izzy's on Friday, Izzy Burger. So there's a place called Izzy Burger, and he makes American style hamburgers, just not too far from the Dunkin', But on Fridays, people go over there and hang out. Except Dan doesn't hang out, and a couple of my other friends don't hang out at Izzy's, because it is a place where you go if you want to spend tons of money on burgers and fries. And so it's they sort of have like an expat meeting there on Friday, and everybody goes in there and they whip out their 1,000 peso bill and they kiss it goodbye every Friday. But listen, that may not be a fair thing to say, Larry's making fun of me. Oh my gosh. Well, in the Philippines is the number one, the number one place where people access Pornhub. So, and they're not teaching birth control in school, from what I understand, here in the Philippines. Oh, I better not go there. Marvin's here. Hi, Marvin. How you doing? Have I seen you in here before, Marvin? I think I may have once or twice, Marvin. Thanks for coming to the live. So now, where was I? Okay, so it really didn't take too much convincing, that for many to convince me we need an apartment in the city somewhere, and we have a lot of choices, right? We could go to Clark. I love Clark. We could go to Newtown, Cebu. We could go to, but the plan was, before we left Sacramento, that we should be near a healthcare facility, one of the best in the world, Chung Hua Hospital. And everybody here knows Chung Hua Hospital is in Mactan. Folks know it from Kristen Cebu, where I was born, where I met Larry and others, I met Nitban and a few others. Anyway, hey, by the way, Nitban's been traveling, and I have to send a message to Nitban to find out where Nitban is. I have a feeling I know, I'm not sure Nitban's in the Philippines. The last we hooked up with Nitban, he was roaming around Thailand, and so he had plans of coming to the Philippines, but I don't know if he was going to come directly here, or if Nitban had planned on traveling other places. Palawan was on his radar, and so Nitban might be headed to Palawan. If that happens, we might join Nitban in Palawan, because it would be nice to hang out with Nitban. Young 30, mid 30s, late 30s. I would say brainiac. I would say he's a brainiac. He's very cerebral. Is that how you say it? Is that how you say it when you're a genius? But anyway, I'm doing fine, Marvin. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing good as well. And I saw that Crystals has stepped into the chatter. She's been here, and I just missed her. Crystals Adventure. Folks, it's always an adventure when Crystals is hanging around. I just want to point that out. So in case you don't know Crystals, you go to her YouTube channel, and there's always something exciting going on in Crystal's YouTube channel. You got welding going on. You got people throwing motorcycle parts against the wall, stuff like that. You'll really enjoy it. Ah, yes. Okay, now where was it again? Okay, so the timing on going and getting an apartment in Cebu is not the greatest timing, because the price of rent and food and all these other expenses are starting to climb. But I have so much fun, and man, Minnie and I together have so much fun hanging around Cebu, especially Osmina Circle, where Tim K was. But the game plan from the very beginning was to have an apartment near that healthcare facility near Changhua in Mandawi, so that in case we need to access healthcare, all we had to do is bounce across the street and head to Mandawi. Head across to Changhua. Hi, Michelle. Good morning. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for being here in the live. All right, so, oh man, as usual, I'm talking myself out. All right, so now let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. You know, the reasoning behind wanting to do this is fairly simple. I didn't want to be way out in the province, you know, where I end up in a provincial hospital, where when I had the event or an event, you know, something happens, all of a sudden the big one, you know, catches me by surprise, and then we got to wait for an ambulance to take me to the port, you know, and if they even let me on a fast ferry to make my way over to Cebu. If we spend 6 months at a time in Cebu or somewhere else where there's, you know, the first class healthcare, world class healthcare, then I don't have to worry about it. I would have a 50% chance of being in one of those metropolitan areas when the event occurred. And so, where did I get this idea originally? Oh, originally I got this from the Philippine Information Channel, from Steve, because Steve is on the mark, I would say 90, well, he's not quite 100%, but he would be in the high 90s in terms of the sharing his information and his ideas. But anyway, you guys already know the idea that I don't agree with Steve on, so we don't need to rehash that over and over again. But since I brought up Steve's name at the Philippine Information Channel, he did something remarkable that I'm 100% in agreement with him on. And, you know, it scared me a little bit when I saw his video. It scared me a little bit. Because when Steve says stuff like, let me see, I got notes. When Steve says expats, when coming over here, have realistic expectation, that's Steve getting ready to open the door to talk about what I have told you is going on in the Philippines. Listen, he said that you have to pay attention to these YouTubers selling the dream. This is basically what he was implying. He didn't actually say those words, but I've said this time and time again. If you're an expat and you're coming over here, you really have to do your homework. And Steve has always said this, do your homework, right? But truth of the matter is, it's been fairly inexpensive to live in the Philippines until now. But it has always been more expensive to live in the areas where you get the first class healthcare. Let me give you an example, right? And so Steve finally says in one of his latest videos, it came out yesterday or day before, have realistic expectations. Believe me, I was paying attention to Steve. He chooses his words very carefully, unlike me. I'm all over the place, you know. I just grab any word floating by in the air willy-nilly. Not Steve. Steve is going to be very, very careful in his selection of words. Jerry! How's it going in South Texas, Jerry? And hello to everybody that I missed. I know a couple of people I missed clicking on the comments. All right, so Jerry's here. All is right in the world. All right, I appreciate everybody who's here in the live today. So anyway, and Michelle's here. I know Michelle is here because I saw Michelle enter into the chat also. I wanted to say hi to Michelle. So anyway, here's where we're at. Marvin, here's where we're at. What happened is Steve chose his words very carefully. I encourage you to go and take a look at his video and sign up if you haven't already signed up for Steve at the Philippine Information Channel. And he says, have realistic expectations. What's Steve really trying to say? What Steve's doing is he's preparing you. This is what I think he's doing. I don't know. I'm not in Steve's head, you know. I could just tell you what I think he's preparing us for, right? He's preparing us for a video that, and a live stream that I've already done, and that Sunshine Shoulders has already done. And that's to let you know that this ain't the old Philippines no more. This is the new Philippines. And the new Philippines is heck of expensive. Now you think I wouldn't be talking about this, right? Because I got plenty of money, right? Oh, okay. Enjoy your work, Marvin. Thanks for stopping by. I hope we see you again. Send me something through the chat. I want to catch up on what you're all about. So, oh, he's not growing the elephant. Oh yeah, the elephant is well, you know, like you pointed out, it's a dwarf elephant. You know, you don't have to feed it much. That's the other thing. All right, so Steve is preparing you for and so he's getting ready to talk about it. Where Sunshine Shoulders and myself, I have a very straightforward delivery, right? You know, I have a very straightforward delivery, and basically it goes something like this: this ain't the old Philippines. This is the new Philippines, and the new Philippines is looking a lot like the United States of America. And I've given you my reasoning why, my reasons why. But if you're in the West, right? I just realized I said something on the last live stream. I said a couple of things on the last live stream. I want to clear it up because it sounded like I was contradicting myself, and I kind of was. But I want to clear the whole mess up, right? I want to clear the whole mess up. I would not discourage somebody from not coming here because they have a limited budget, right? But Steve said it better. He said have realistic expectations, have realistic expectations, right? It isn't a utopian culture. Most people have experience in the military, traveling around. You have some life experience. Know that it's never a utopian situation. There's always going to be challenges, as there are here in the Philippines, right? But Steve is doing us a favor by telling us that you have to do it's all about due diligence. For example, right? So that's what I'm talking about. So I guess what I'm saying is so let's go back, because my point was about coming to the Philippines and living on $1,000 per month, which most Filipinos would be happy. They would be so happy if they were getting $1,000 a month, to live on, because they've learned to live on somewhere between $200 and $400 per month. Most Filipinos, not necessarily the Filipinos in the big city, because if you're in the big city, you darn well most likely can afford to live there. In other words, you're a judge, you're a lawyer, you're a professional, you're a driver, you're something like that. So anyway, hang on, folks. I'm going to take a break for a moment. I'm going to have to stop the cam. I could hear someone trying to get my attention at the door. Okay, so I'm here. All right, so that was very nice of Ma'am Minnie to tap on the door and then bring me another cup of coffee. That was very nice of her. All right, so where was I? Let's listen here, Sudan. Two little kids are saying, "Oh no, crystals." Go take care of them. Run and take care of them. Well, you know, my friends just text me just right now saying that it snowed in Sacramento. First time in a long time they got snow, Jerry. Snow in Sacramento. So of course I'm teasing them. Did you guys go out there and build a snowman? Did you give it a carrot nose and cool eyes? Abby's here. Abby and Beth, thanks all for being here. All right, so let's continue on this boring conversation. Let's get back to it, right? So Sunshine Shoulders gets on there and says, uh-oh, I'm going to back off my $1,000 budget suggestion, right? We know why. Because things are getting very, very expensive. And then Steve goes on there and he touts. He says, yeah, well, I told you guys it wouldn't work. But for some reason, Steve does a backup video. And what he says is, have realistic expectations of coming here to the Philippines. And I agree 100%, because you can live in the province, no problem at all. You could probably live like a king on $1,000 per month. American money. The problem is, you know, that if you are going to seek out the healthcare, or you have an emergency event, not something that is chronic, you know, you have to go into the city to get your diabetes medication or something like that, high blood pressure meds, those types of things. You'd be fine in the province if you came in for your monthly checkups or whatever the doctor recommends that you should partake in to maintain your health. We're talking health maintenance versus emergency. So doggone it. There was another guy and his wife who did a video on this, right? Who live in the mountaintop. And I forgot to write down what their thing is all about. But anyway, he's a heavy smoker and he drinks, you know. And he just has concluded that, listen, this is my life. Whatever happens is going to happen. And she said she agrees with it. You know, she's accepted that he has these vices and the man is a package deal. And they both articulate themselves very, very well. You know, they said in order to live this lifestyle in the province on this limited budget that we have, which in their case is $1,500 per month, we have to make decisions, you know, and those decisions are that I'm going to self-insure. And if I have a critical event and I'm stuck here on the mountaintop, I probably am not going to make it to the doctor before I pass on if it's like a massive heart attack or something. Because it takes 2.5 to 3 hours from where they're located to reach the main highway, and then another 2 to 2.5 hours to reach the designated hospital that they would go to in the event of an emergency. So he knows and she knows that he wouldn't make it. And so they've accepted that as being, you know, a possibility. And so when you do that, then that's fine. You know what you're doing. That is being reasonable, because you've worked through all the steps in making the decision, and their expectations are realistic. So in other words, they don't have unrealistic expectations. They have a limited budget, $1,500 a month, and he wants a certain type of lifestyle. They both do, and they end up in the mountain, right? They end up in the mountain to live, and you know, the gentleman has accepted his prospects that, you know, these events could occur, and I'm okay. I've lived a good life, and I've lived a fantastic life, and anything that happens from here on out is fine. And so, no, I wouldn't be the one to say. So I love it. I love the way they present it. And so the whole thing is, hey, here's Leonard from Houston. So the whole thing is that That's fine. I wouldn't say, I would be a clown to say, and I am a clown. See? But the whole thing is, if I said don't come because you only have 1,000 or 1,500, well, that's the most stupid thing in the world a person can say to you, right? Because it's the same money you'll have to live in the United States. That's the whole thing, right? And healthcare is not free in the United States, even if you have Medicare, right? Even if you have Medicare Part A, Part B, supplemental, and Part D, the drug plan, it's still not free. You have to pay these co-payments. And the hospital co-payments will kill you. Anyway, you might as well die in the mountaintop of the Philippines. By the way, people, speaking of medical things, I noticed that one of my false teeth are coming out. So prior to coming here, Minnie and I had made a decision, right? And that decision was simply that we would maintain an apartment in the city near the hospital. And I've chosen Chung Hua Hospital in Mactan, Cebu as to be my hospital of choice. But listen, I procrastinated on putting this plan together. Thank God nothing bad has happened to me so far. Nothing where it was a medical emergency. So I'm grateful. You know, we still have time to put this plan together. All right, so the next question is, having realistic expectations, how much will it cost me? Oh, by the way, if I'm clear in the presentation of that, let me know in the chat. Also, if you have any questions, let me know in the chat, or if you don't want to publicly ask the question, just send me something through Messenger or through when this becomes a video down below, go ahead and comment. So anyway, that's the whole thing. All right, so that prompted me to put the title, oh, we better discuss cost of living increases in cola in the United States. Cola, no, not Coca-Cola. By the way, don't you wish they still would put just a teeny tiny bit of Coke in the cola? Coca-Cola, you know. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this study. You can look it up and fact check me. But drinking Pepsi and Coca-Cola makes your testicles larger. And so you go and look up that study. I don't know who did it, but I don't know if Coke or Pepsi or both sponsored that study. And so now you have all these guys, right? It increases your level of testosterone. Now you have all these guys, since this study was published, they're all running out to the 7-Eleven to get the big bottles, the 2-liter bottles of Coke. So they have that available to them. Listen, that's hecka funny if you think about it. This is fact, not fiction. Listen, some things I make up as I go along, but I did not make this up. That's a study that I just saw. It could be fake news, but I'm making the qualifying statement here. It could be fake news. So if you want big testicles, then you go start drinking Pepsi Cola and Coke. Comment down below. Did you get it? Big testicles, comment down below. I do apologize to the women in the room. I do apologize. All right, moving on. All right, so now we're talking about the cost of living. Let's talk about the cost of an apartment. All right, so here's the thing. I've been watching all kinds of videos this week in preparation for this live. And you know, it's interesting to me that people are doing this budget video, right? And it always ends up under $1,000 per month. And then the disclaimer towards the end is, oh, by the way, we cashed out our house, so I don't have a rent payment. So whatever you're paying for rent, you would have to add on to that $1,000 budget. That blows me away that people do stuff like that. So they do that. So then I started realizing that I started thinking about it, and I realized I'm doing the same thing. I didn't factor in the rent because the rent is not part of my budget because I've already, we cash flowed this house. This house is paid for. It was paid for. It was built with Minnie's hard work and sweat from her brow, her brow. Minnie, it's the house that Minnie built. I'm a guest here. So anyway, no. Don't worry. She has no plans of kicking me out. None that she has shared with me to date. Or I'm not worried, Thankfully, everything is going just fine here in the old homestead. So what does this move to Cebu entail? Because we'll be on the road in a couple of months. Did I say a couple of months? No. I've been procrastinating way too long. We will be on the road in a week and a half or 2 weeks on the outside, heading for Cebu, the area around Mactan Chunghwa Hospital. Good morning, Marianne. Marianne. That's Frankie Valley. Marianne. I sound just like him, don't I? So, yeah, dental, but it's not that much. Well, to replace a crown in the States is somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000. And if you don't have dental insurance, that's all out of pocket, right? But I hope the tooth doesn't fall out right here. It doesn't feel loose, but the backing on it is falling apart. So it's going to fall out eventually. But me, I'll try everything first because I like to. Like, for example, I have dental resin in one of the drawers, in the bedroom over there. And I'll if it falls out, I'll mix up some resin. I'll slap it in there. I'll slap the tooth back up in there, and I'll see if I can get some more mileage out of it. As long as it doesn't crack down the middle. And none of these, I've had these for 20 years, and none of them have cracked. Except for one tooth that I have the problem with now is breaking apart in the back. So eventually, that will damage the integrity of the tooth, and I'll have to get it replaced. But I'll do everything in my power, including putting in a temporary resin tooth before I have to pay the $200 to $400 to have the crown replaced, because they don't call me low budget Dan for nothing. I'm living up to my name. All right, so let's talk about the cost of the apartment. Let's talk about the cost of the apartment right where I want to be, right? So let me get on to the second video that I want to talk about that segues directly into what we're talking about, cost of the apartment. And I have to go to Tim K. Tim K is a way nicer guy than I give him credit for, No, listen, I've been a subscriber of Tim K's almost from the very beginning, 7,000 or 8,000 subscribers. I'm your guy, right? I signed up. And so I pay attention because he's giving you information from a younger man's perspective because he's 42 years old. When you're watching these videos, age has everything to do with their perspective on things, folks. You have to take age into consideration. If you don't, what are you doing? You're not going to listen to a 42-year-old tell you don't carry health insurance. What does a 42-year-old know about old man problems? Right? So you can't. So usually Tim K, he's straight up. He doesn't give him for. He knows, he's just laying it out there from a position of fact. Most of the time, Tim K just gives fact, and when he gives his opinion, he'll give the qualifying statement. This is just my opinion based on my experience, Of course, even though he says that, people will still critique him, saying, "What are you telling people to do, Tim?" Mingates, good morning. How are you? Thanks for being here in the chat. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I do need to get the watch hours up, guys. And you guys in the chat, you've been doing an excellent job. I want to thank you. The numbers are looking pretty good. One day I will monetize my channel again. Hey, wait. You know what? Are you guys seeing the reflection of the sun? Let me see where that's coming from, and let me see if I can put the fire out. Oh. Looks like it's coming from here. Let me see. Oh, that's nice. All right, that helps. That helps a little bit. That'll take out that reflection for a little while. All right, so now, what are we going to talk about? Oh yeah, the money. So Tim K, he does a video where he's showing his budget, right? And his budget, I was looking at his budget going, damn, you rich. Tim K, you are rich, right? I mean, he's paying $500 a month for house rent on the beach in Southern Leyte. About, I would say, 2 or 3 hours from here, Masan City. And so he's enjoying his life. Every once in a while he comes through Bye City, but I haven't run into him so far. We have a lot of vloggers that live here, guys. Just would like to tell you, this is where, I mean, you think Manila and Cebu have a lot of vloggers, or Dumaguete City, but man, you go walking down the street, everybody's got a camera here in Bye. All right, let's see. Anna May, what do you say? What you gonna do today? I know, let's go shopping. So let's talk about the money, folks, because that's what you're waiting. So Tim K gets out there and shows his budget. And I mean, it was a crazy budget. Actually, let's not talk about Tim K's budget because it was so high. His budget was so high that there's no way that I would ever. I mean, if I'd have to travel all around the world in order to hit his budget numbers. I mean, he must be making heck of money on YouTube. He must be making like $5,000 or $6,000 a month on YouTube. Anyway, it's none of my business, but I definitely cannot live the Tim K lifestyle because the rent is totally unrealistic. So he gets bombarded, right? He gets bombarded with comments about his budget. Tim, you know, you could live way less than that in the Philippines. And Tim knows this. My God, the man has lived in a couple of different countries. The man knows what it costs to live in the Philippines on a budget, but he doesn't have, you know, an expat budget. Is that a decent way to say it? He's not living on that kind of budget. You know, and quite frankly, in order to be fair, neither am I, but I'm low budget Dan. You know, I pretend that I'm living on a low budget. But I haven't been fair. We're going to go over Dan's budget again, but I haven't been fair, and because I realize that I haven't been giving you all the information, you know, and then I'm going to do that. So I know it's boring. Especially if you're Filipina and you're struggling to make ends meet every month, and you live in the province. That's most of the lives. That's how they go for most of the Filipinas, maybe even most of the Filipinas in the chat. Yeah, I'm a coffee guy for sure. I got mine here, and man, Minnie has put on another pot for me. Thank you for reminding me my coffee is sitting here getting cold. So now let's talk about it. The nuts and bolts. Tim K is paying $500 a month rent. But yeah, Coke must have paid for the study. That's what I'm thinking. You want big testicles? Drink Coke. You see Dan walking down the street with a wagon. No, I'm sorry. I need to behave myself. Yes, Glorious is right. I need to take a coffee and donut break. Oh, let's see what Anime says. You can use Coke to clean your toilet bowl. Yeah, and it does a great job. I've done it. I've done it when we were moving out of the apartment in Sacramento. You know, first thing I did was got a 2-liter bottle. Hardly took that much, and it was amazing. It's amazing how it works. So anyway, Tim K's $500 apartment is not my budget. I mean, if I had $500 to spend on an apartment, I would have 2 apartments. But he has a house on the bluff, on the beach in Southern Leyte. It is beautiful. He can go out there on the catwalk with his cup of coffee, sit out there and get hit by the ocean breeze and look around and thank God for the kind of a life he's being allowed to live, right? Me, I go out here to the veranda, right? I go out here and I get eaten up by mosquitoes every morning. So I can't go out there. They eat me for lunch. I can't go out there in the evening neither because they eat me for lunch. Man, I hope I don't go into anaphylactic shock right here in the live stream, right in front of God and everybody. All right, so he's got to have like a $3,000 budget per month. Now, if I were going to pay $500 a month for an apartment, I would have 2, right? I would have an apartment in the south and an apartment in the north in Luzon. So it's not that I can't afford to pay $500 a month. It's just that I don't want to pay $500 a month because I'm low budget Dan, and I have a reputation to maintain. But I know that I'm going to blow this reputation up as soon as I get this apartment in Cebu City or Mandawi. So, but I'm letting you know that this has always been the plan. It was the plan before we left Sacramento. We'd already agreed that we were going to do this. You know, and it's comfortable for everyone. Doing this also provides or adds to a certain level of comfort. Because I have made no bones about the fact that I like hanging around the mall. I like to hang around Seaside. I like hanging around Ayala. I like to go to Starbucks every once in a while to get my Starbucks fix. I love Bo's Coffee Shop. I love it. I mean, do you understand? Do you know the true meaning of the word love? Look it up. I'm not going to lie. I won't deceive. Randall Zook is here. Hey, Randall, I have a Danmar video coming up. I went to Danmar. So I just wanted to let you know. It's interesting. I ran into you because Minnie and I went to Danmar the other day and we did a video. All right. So can I afford $500 a month? Yes, I can. Would I waste it on one apartment overlooking the beach? No, I probably won't. I'll probably go inland a little bit, right? But let's talk about Tim K. So Tim K gets hammered. He gets hammered by all the naysayers. Tim, you're living like, you know, quite frankly, you're living life on the luxurious side of the equation. Actually, they didn't put it as eloquently as I just did. You know, they actually didn't say it that nicely. They basically called Tim K a rich bastard in the chat. If you want, go over to Tim K's channel, take a look around. Sign up. I encourage you to get a 42-year-old man's perspective on life. You need to have it. So anyway, oh my gosh, yes, so unhealthy. Remy, no more Coke. Just say no to Coke. but it gives you gigantic testicles. You see, that's the point. So anyway, so we're learning from this new study, most likely sponsored by Coca-Cola. All right, back to it. So Tim K realizes, people really, this isn't really what his viewership is looking for. They're looking for how to live in the Philippines on $500 per month, right? But a comment catches his attention, right? A comment from a guy who he nicknamed Magic Mike, who lives, guess where? In Cebu. So he does a whole new video. Magic Mike is saying, hey, Tim, what are you talking about? Why is your budget so high? I'm living here and I pay $150 per month in Cebu. So Tim K has to go to Cebu because he has to do some paperwork on his luxury Toyota car, the one that sells for $100K or something like that. I think, in fairness to Tim K, the Toyota that he bought probably is $55,000 or $65,000 U.S. money. But anyway, he has to go there and transfer title and do some other things, pay off the loan. He tells everybody on his channel what he's doing. And while he's there, he hooks up with Magic Mike to go take a tour of his apartment. So now I have something to compare, right? Now I have something solid to compare with, because this is happening in the here and now. $150 apartment in Cebu and a $60 apartment that Steve has in Tres Monteros. Of course, Steve's place looks more like a closet, and the guy in Cebu looks more like an apartment. So I apologize to Steve at the Philippine Information Channel, but he can be so easy to make a target of, $60 apartment in Tres Monteros. That's the ticket. He's not low budget Steve. He's no budget Steve. So anyway, that's great. Anyway, however you structure your life, as it pertains to how much money you have to spend, that's your call. That's how you want to live. That's how you choose to live your life. But if it can be done, it can be done in the Philippines. It's more fun in the Philippines. Everybody knows that. So anyway, I encourage you to go look at these videos so you can see what I'm talking about. So then he goes to Magic Mike's apartment. And then I'm excited. I'm really excited. I go, that's my apartment. I'm writing it down, right? I'm writing down where it's at. I'm going to call that apartment complex and I'm going to get that deal, $150 per month. But unfortunately, I find out that that apartment came unfurnished. No AC, no hot water, no. And most people from the West, they want to emulate their Western lifestyle. So Magic Mike explains how, oh yeah, by the way, he casually presents it. I'm paying $150 for this fine unfurnished apartment, but he casually explains that he had to buy all the furniture. He had to buy the hot water heater on demand. He had to put the AC in. And, all said and done, he spent $3,000 or so. I don't know what he spent. But listen, I'm thinking $3,000 because I've been pricing all this stuff out already. Because, Minnie and I, we want to buy some furniture for the living room. I need a big, easy chair because I like sitting there in my easy chair on the big screen TV, watching my videos and watching life going by in general. So anyway, yes, the warm water is important. Don't go shopping. Eat Pandasol for 5 pesos and drink warm water. Do not go shopping. I'm telling you, those are words that I should be adhering to. Listen, I keep longing I need to live somewhere else. No, I'm not saying that necessarily. Well, we're going to find out. No, we're going to find out, Larry. That's the point. So that's the point. We need to find out. And so we're doing it. And since we're doing it, we're going to be vlogging it. Since we're going to Cebu. So the point was living near medical if you needed to be near medical. But if you don't, and you accept that other person's viewpoint, which is understandable. I think it's called American Man, Filipino Wife. I'm not sure if that's the channel name. It's something like that, American Man, Filipino Wife. So anyway, he's accepted the fact that if he has a serious medical event, he most likely won't survive, but he chooses to live his life the way that he wants to live it. And I encourage everybody in this chat to live your life the way you choose to live it, not the way I or somebody else tells you, right? So, and don't let anybody sell you the idea that the Philippines is some kind of utopian society. Not that it's very nice here, but some of the vloggers are selling this as though it's a utopian, a utopian society. All right, so let's get down to it. So, okay, I don't have $3,000 to spend, nor will, even if I did, I won't spend it on an unfurnished apartment. That stuff would go in the main house. If I were to spend $3,000, that's a hell of a lot of money, right? That's how much money is that? That's 150,000 pesos. I don't even know how much money, because my mind won't go there. I don't, it's too much money. So if that's what Magic Mike spent in order to furnish the unfurnished apartment that he was bragging about gets for $150 a month, and he paid his rent in advance and got that discount, that's how he ended up at the cheap rent. That's how he ended up at the 150. So we won't be going to Cebu looking for an unfurnished apartment. We're going to Cebu and we're looking for a turnkey apartment. Okay, here's the other point. He was close, and maybe even close enough, to Chung Hua Hospital. I noticed that when I mapped him out, because the video showed the subdivision that he was living in. So I went and I looked it up, and he was approximately 20 kilometers from Chung Hua Hospital. That's about 13 miles, 12 point something miles from the hospital. That's pretty close. I mean, for $150, even though, he paid $3,000 for furniture and, to get all the stuff that he wanted, right, in order to make his life comfortable. Oh, Leonard, you're cracking me up. He drank a lot of Coke, and he has to live, unfortunately, with, childlike testicles. You're a killer. That was funny, Leonard. You keep feeding me the straight lines, and I will answer them. Leonard is that kind of funny. Yeah, I did the Dan Mar video. Yeah, I did. And I was thinking about you, Randall, the entire time that I was doing it. I just want to point that out. I know it took me a while to get down there, and the reason why it took me a while, because they don't call me low budget Dan for nothing. I had to save up. And my mind had to be in the right space in order to go there. All right. So drinking Coke didn't work for you either. Well, listen, boys. I have not had the same experience. Oh, you guys are just cracking me up. Yeah, that's right. The sugar's bad. I want them to do Coke Zero as an experiment to see if they get the same result. Yeah, because it might be the placebo effect. The sugar may have more to do with it than what they're telling us. Yeah, Crystal, you're a very, very good critical thinker. I always appreciate when you're here. Abby, same thing. You guys should be friends. Abby's a very, very sharp critical thinker. Larice also. I mean, I got critical thinkers. Good morning. Oh, no, that's okay. We won't give you a demerit for being late for class, Tim. Yeah, we will not, because we know you've been going through some changes. And so I hope the surgery went well. Let's see. We weren't talking hernia, though. We were talking testicles. Just want to point that out. Let's see. Where was I? You guys are cracking me up. Yeah, don't forget the hot water for shower bath. But now, I've told you many times, I'm acclimated to the water. For example, we have a centralized water heater that is yet to be installed. No one is in a hurry to install it. I'm not. Minnie's family isn't, and the reason is because I'm acclimated to the water, and so I mean as long as the water pressure is good and we have that water pump, that's a must. Water pressure is a must. The hot water is nice to have, but I'm sure we'll put it in eventually, but not today. I'm just used to it. I just got used to using the cold water. I took the shower hose and I went psh, right on my back, Tim. That's how used to it I am. I can just take it, turn it on without even testing whether the water's hot, cold, or wet. And I just went spray, that's how used to it I am. So, all right. So anyway, it turns out that Magic Mike, who has a $150 unfurnished apartment in Cebu that he furnished himself, which I'm sure that I don't know what he's going to do with all this furniture if he ends up moving after a year. Maybe he can't move. Maybe he doesn't want to move. He loves the place. He said is 20 miles or 13 miles or 20 kilometers from Chung Hua Hospital. Folks, I could do that. I'm not doing the unfurnished apartment, though. I want turnkey. Man, Minnie and I are looking for a turnkey apartment. Now, how much money will that cost? That's the whole thing. How much money will that cost? And so we're going to videotape that, and we're going to show it and present it to you so you know how much an apartment will cost if you want to be near Chung Hua Hospital in Cebu. But then I started thinking about it. Now, this is going to be a more difficult sell, I think. I brought it up for the first time yesterday. Mammy and I were sitting there talking to some expats from Alaska and around who are also Babayans from Bye Bye City Leyte and or Babylonians. Babayans, yeah. Anyway, we were sitting there talking and we were going like, Minnie, why don't we get an apartment in the north also? Why don't we get it? And there was a young lady sitting there and her face, she was dun, 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 stunned. And then she turned and said to me, a very nice woman and her husband who spent 6 months here and 6 months in Canada. Of course, if you lived in Canada, you'd know why they come here for 6 months out of the year. Yes, indeed. If you lived in Toronto, you know why you're here. But she had this mortified look on her face, like, if you have an apartment in each city, then you need a caregiver for each one. I go, yeah, what's your point? What's your point? See, for that same $500 that Tim K is paying, right? I would have 3 places. The place here in Bye Bye City, the one in Cebu that we're going to go hunt down, and then the one in the north. Can it be done is the question. Can it be done? And then we have the jumping off places all set up where we need to be. So if we're leaving the country, we can leave from Mactan Airport. If we happen to be in the north near St. Luke's Hospital, for example, we can leave from Manila. Doesn't it sound like reasonable if you can afford to do it? Does it not sound reasonable? Don't forget to show the reality of trash and poor living conditions. I pretty much ignore that, Tim. After a while, all I see is USA. After a while, all I see is Sacramento, California, moving to the Philippines, and I'm serious about that. I'm not really joking. It's becoming, so Tim, I don't know when the last time was that you were in the United States, right? But if you go back there, right, you're seeing, if you go back to, let me say more specifically, if you go back to where I'm from, right, you're seeing, which is Sacramento, California, which used to be a really, really nice place to live. Right, you are seeing that would be due east from San Francisco, about 120 miles, give or take. Right, 2 hour and a half, 2 hour drive or so. If the traffic is heavy, you're seeing deteriorating infrastructure. You're seeing power brownouts. You're seeing you're running from. You're dodging bullets in your house from gunshots in the middle of the night. That's an accurate portrayal of what Sacramento is becoming. And so Sacramento is becoming like the Philippines, and the Philippines is becoming more like Sacramento. Yes, warm weather, but there are 152 countries that speak. There's all right. This is a Jeopardy question. How many? Let's Google it. Let's see. How many countries? If you beat me to it, put it up there in the chat. How many English speaking countries are there with warm weather? With warm weather. Let's see if Google has an answer. Do 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 do. Quora comes up. Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, so yeah, of course, if you're no budget, you can't live in the States anywhere. You can, but you'd have you'd have a sidewalk with a view, right, Tim? And that's the same thing that you would have here in the Philippines, a sidewalk with a view. Oh, good. Congratulations, Tim. I'm happy to hear that. Are you home? You must be home. All right. It says that with all the criteria I put in there, New Zealand matches the first three criteria. The fourth one, if it is easy to immigrate, which depends on your situation. Yeah, see, they don't like my kind in New Zealand. They would if I were a Spanish-speaking doctor. I've just noticed that there's a lot of dust in this room. You're on your way. Can you, while you're there, Abby, can you see if you can find us a $60 apartment in Tagaytay? Yeah, if you can, let me know. Let me know if you send me a message. Send me a message if you could find me a $60 apartment. A studio apartment would be fine. A studio apartment would be fine. Oh, my back doesn't allow cold. Okay, you have a very warm back. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so Beth is still here. And thank you all 13 people that are currently in the chat. Dan, after I decide where I want to live, if I move to the Philippines, I want it unfurnished. That way we can have a nicer place. Right, that's what you would do. So so go and watch that video, Tim K, and you'll see that's what Magic Mike did. He made it exactly the way that he wanted it to be. Tim, though, you're in a good area, yeah, because you have decent health care there. You have decent, I mean, you have good access to health care, and they're decent. They're decent. So no need to travel to Manila. All right, so then you have. Why does Canada always show up on my list? I have no idea. The Canadians must be desperate. They must be getting really, really desperate to get people there. But Canada always shows up on the cheapest, most weather-friendly places to live in the entire world. Who are they kidding? Who are the Canadians trying to kid? Like I said, would they be here at the Dunkin' during the middle of winter here in Bye Bye City if Canada was the perfect place to live weather-wise? But of course, you're going to be going to, places like Costa Rica. You're going to be going to the UK, southern Spain, Italy, India. They speak English there. Malaysia, even though it's not an English-speaking country as a primary language. You're going to be going to all these English-speaking countries, which there are a hell of English-speaking countries with warm weather. And so Philippines being one of those, although it's been raining like crazy lately because we have a tropical climate. 178 provinces in the Philippines. Some speak English. Yes, I'm in an English-speaking province. And so, there's no language barrier whatsoever. I have not even run into one single incident that I can think of where we had a problem to communicate. So now, in my situation, not Larry's, because Larry's, I understand where Larry's coming from. We're going to be looking for turnkey because I'm not going to be wanting to haul furniture, and plus, it gives the landlord an unfair advantage over you if they know that you have furniture and stuff you have to haul out of there when you want to move because you're not happy with the new terms year 2 of your lease. When they come to you with the renewal and they say, guess what? We're elevating you. But guess what I found out, Larry? It's actually a setup. Those words are actually a setup. Because they have rent control here in the Philippines. They have rent control. There are rules. They have rules here in the Philippines about how much you can raise rent. And it has dollar limits. So the richer you are, the more they can raise your rent. So basically it's like this. Apartments over $10,000 a month, they could raise it something like 10 or 11% when they renew your lease. As long as you've been continuously living there during the term of your lease. You vacate the apartment and decide to come back, they can charge whatever amount of money they want for the renewed lease. Under a $10,000 ceiling, from what I understand, they can only raise your rent a maximum of 7% in a given rental period, a year. To raise it more than that, you complain to the rental board, for which there's none. Anyway, listen, there is a public law, and you have to look it up. By the way, I was spewing in garbage as though I knew what the actual rules are, but I actually don't. So I'm just letting you know there are rules that they have to follow. Landlords do, especially industrial, investor-owned apartment complex. They have to abide by the law. Some of them do, and some of them don't. Canada is not a warm country. Yeah, I know. But if you look it up in Google, right, Canada is always going to come up as being the cheapest or the most affordable English-speaking country, right? They're going to come up in the top 10. And so somebody is paying somebody to get that rating. Oh, Beth lives there. Okay. Beth, I'm sending you out on a mission. Find Dan an apartment. A furnished one. A furnished one with the biggest television set that you can find. Okay, well, there's Tim. Tim telling it the way it is, $9 for a loaf of bread. So we got a discussion last time either on New Zealand's not warm. Live like Tarzan in North Queensland and Australia. There you go. And so there's Peter giving you his words of wisdom. Good morning. How are you, Peter? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. So, but the whole idea, of course, Larry, and I know you know this, and Tim and guys, Peter, is if you have an apartment in the north and one in the south, then I don't have to rent hotel rooms. When we leave the country, we could just sort of like, frog at north. We just go, we're just like a game of Frogger. So we're going from Bye Bye City to Cebu, from Cebu to Manila, from Manila to wherever we're going. By the way, guys, so the big discussion was not my talking about this crap around the Dunkin' Donuts table yesterday. It was really about how people are leaving and moving to Vietnam. And Vietnam is nowhere near being an English-speaking country. Although you'll have provincial areas where you have a lot of Westerners that are moving in there for the cheap rent and for the low cost of living. And so, but that's not the entire country. Those are located. They have areas in the north near Hanoi and areas near the south near Da Nang and Saigon, where people, or Ho Chi Minh City, I should say, if I want to be PC, but I don't, that are English speaking. Those areas, of course, they cater to Westerners. And also Cambodia. You're going to have areas of Cambodia. And so people are leaving Thailand and they're leaving the Philippines if they're a Westerner anyway. And they're moving to Vietnam and Cambodia because it's getting too expensive to live here. And so the whole point of the conversation, so I think we beat the apartment thing to death. That's the plan. Minnie didn't say she didn't like the idea. Of course, she didn't say she liked it because after all, Cebu is the hopping off place, for any place you want to go to in the entire world. You can get a plane from Cebu. And a lot of people say that they like to avoid Manila every chance they get. But as you know, I've talked about this, and I like, I like the grittiness of some parts of Manila. But the truth of the matter is, you can find that in any major secondary city that is here in the Philippines. So if I need that flavor of grittiness, then I could always go to parts of Cebu and find it, right? We know where those parts are. I mean, I've been there, One thing's for sure, if I want to get ripped off by a cab driver, I'll go to Manila. Or Bangkok. I had plenty of that in Bangkok. In fact, that's where we did most of our walking, was in Bangkok. Every time I got tired of trying to negotiate cab fare in Bangkok. So I just said, well, feetsies, don't fail me now. Yeah, so that's true. Oh, so Abby says that's true, Sir Dan. They can raise rent, and there's a lot of condition. So if you've been living in the same place for a long, long time, they're restricted as to how much they can charge you for rent. I mean, as Abby pointed out, how much of a rent increase they're allowed to impose whenever they renew your contract. So a lot of people don't know that, Yeah, you're 20 minutes from an international airport. That's right. And you know what? I love flying out of Clark. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's the best experience that a person would want to have. And when you're in Clark, you can go anywhere that you want to out of Clark also. But here's what I find out, that Clark is a little bit more expensive. And so Man, Minnie and I have talked about it. We have talked about it, and we're kind of thinking that Clark would also be a place to consider as a place to live. And so would San Fernando, Pampanga be a place to consider. And so, I mean, there's a lot to think about, or maybe there's a place somewhere in between Manila and Clark. I mean, it's not a no man's land, for crying out loud. It's not a no man's land. It's not desert, for crying out loud. So, and that would kind of fill, but the goal is to be near medical. And I mean, Clark does fill the bill for that. I mean, if you think about it, you have great access to medical care if you're in Clark. So, but let's talk about the other thing. So, is the rent the most expensive, part of your budget? Is that going to be what is going to cost you the most every month? And it is not in Dan's budget. So, but when I talk to other people who are renting, they tell me that no, food is. They're telling me that food is the problem now. It's not, it's housing, rent is expensive, but the price of food is going crazy. And I know from personal experience, because we're buying food for a household of 5 right now. And I don't miss many meals. Folks, I got to tell you something. I have to reveal something to you. I got 2 items that I've never included in my household budget when I presented them on video and or my live stream. And I want to take care of that right now. Right? The first one's going to be obvious. The first one's going to be the Dunkin' Donuts budget, which you got to know that if I'm going to go to Dunkin' Donuts and spend, every day there, sitting there talking to my buds, drinking coffee, I'm spending 200 pesos every day. That's $4 American. That's for myself and Man Minnie, if she accompanies me, which is most of the time. We're spending $4 a day. That's coffee and a donut. So, I mean, put pencil to paper, and you tell me how much I'm spending, per month. What's my budget? How much am I spending at the DD? By the way, I am a graduate of Dunkin' Donuts University. Most people know that. That was one of my first degrees that I achieved. I have a degree in donut making and donut management from Dunkin' Donuts University. And very, very few people can actually say they got one of them. Yeah. Tim's been in his place 8 years, and so he's paying $8,000. So that's $160 a month, which would be great if you could replicate that. If I can go in there to where Tim lives, I can get a place for $160. It's furnished, ready to go. I'm your man. I'm moving tomorrow. Let's see. These days, there's a so-called rent-to-own wiser to get one than just renting a home to stay for a while. I saw that, and they have that available in Cebu. They have that available right there in that area. I don't trust it, but listen, I don't know if it makes any difference or not, because if something fell out and, the contract on the rent to own, the T's weren't crossed and the I's weren't dotted, what would be the harm? Because I was planning on paying just regular rent anyway. So rent to own might be the way to go, but we're going to explore all those possibilities. I'm so happy you brought that up, Crystals. I'm so happy. Who said 10K? Let's see. I spend about 10K per month for food. Yes, that's what I was about ready to say. You beat me to the punch. I'm too slow today, Tim. The cost of food is going to be more than the cost of rent. And that actually is this budget that Tim is kind of giving us on the fly is pretty close to a realistic budget. So except, you might be paying a little bit more, a little bit less for rent. It all depends. But the 10K for a single person is about where you need to be. But I'm spending $500 per month. And if you figured out my donut and coffee budget, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, then you know I'm spending $140 to $150 per month hanging out at the Dunkin' Donut. It's better to have your own. You can save money. You can do whatever you want. It's better to live in a nicer place with trees and quiet surroundings. Hey, Abby, that's the American dream. Are you in America? That's the American dream. White picket fence surrounding your property, dog in the yard, you know, a little tiny chihuahua or something. That's the American dream, Abby. We all want it. We want it. So you're looking at, so for our household budgets, it's going to be $500 per month, and it's going north. It's going north. That's because the cost of food keeps climbing. It's out of control, folks. It's out of control. I'm trying to get your attention. The Filipinos that are here in the chat that are living in the Philippines know this. It's going crazy. The cost of pork and simple things like pork, egg, and base and rice is going absolutely nuts. They're starting to miniaturize everything. They're starting to put everything in half sacks of rice. You buy the eggs by the each. I mean, that's always been the case, right? But if you go into Metro or Prince Mall, they used to sell them by the dozen, right? You pay so much per dozen. Now you're paying them by the half dozen or by the each. So I mean, simple thing of baking soda deodorant is going for something like $5 or $6 if it's an American brand. Folks, talk about yourself while I go get a refill on my cup of coffee. I shall be right back. Oh my gosh, the elixir of life, folks. There's nothing better. And this isn't even the last cup that I'll have today, right? There's still some more in the pot. And we'll be heading over to the Dunkin' right after this live. By the way, if you're anywhere near Bye Bye City Ladies, stop into the Dunkin', and I'd be very, very honored to get a cup of coffee for you. That is about like graduating from clown college. Listen, I graduated with honors from DDU. They've been doing rent to own in the U.S. for years. It's true, but the IRS, a friend of mine used to do that, and he had to stop doing it because the IRS said, okay, let me explain the IRS rules. When you sell the place, even if it's rent to own, the taxes are due the day that you sign that contract. That's what they told my friend. So he had to stop doing it. I had a friend who used to do that. This is what he did for a living, and he had to stop doing it because the IRS sent him a letter saying taxes are due upon the sale. My friend argued, no, you pay the taxes monthly as you get the payment that's dedicated towards the sale. And they said, no, the tax is due, the entire tax, because it's considered to be a sale. And so I don't know if they ever worked that out. It's been years since I talked to him about that. Oh, Abby, yeah. You're not. What? You're not? Well, see, but Abby, listen, I want to tell you something. I really appreciate you because you brought up one of the reasons why I think you know, what's happening here is they're importing all kind of Western culture, and rent to own, as Mr. Leonard was pointing out, that is an American idea. Listen, if we can monetize something, if we can figure out a way to monetize it, we're going to do it. If we can figure out a way to profit out of the sale of anything, you know, we're going to do it. For example, dental. Since I brought that up earlier, let's talk about it. They have dental financing here in the USA. Oh, wait a minute. I'm no longer in the USA. Oh, yeah. But if you go into the dentist, right, and they spew this, I'll tell you what, I got kicked out of a dentist. I got to tell you the story. I got kicked out of a dentist's office. Angela's here. Hi, Angela. How are you? Mega love shout out to you. I got kicked out of a dental office for calling a dentist a charlatan. You know, I got so angry when they came to me and they said, we need $3,000 in order to do this job. I said, why do I need you? I said, why would I need you? I have YouTube. All I have to do is go home, watch a video, and I will figure out how to do it. You can take your $3,000 and you can shove it. You charlatan. And so guess what I did? I went home, I watched a YouTube video, I bought the kit, and Dan has the crown reattached back here in the back. What did they want to do? They said, oh no, you can't reattach that. There's going to be problems. You know, you need a brand new one. And I said, no, I just want you to put some resin in there and slap that bad boy back in there. And here's the reason why. I explained my reasoning. Folks, I make great sense. I said, listen, I go, here's what could happen. You know, here's what could happen if we decide to put a new one in there. I said, you won't be able to do it because you'll tell me next that you have to build a bridge. Well, the dentist said, yes. I mean, yes, we probably will have to build a bridge. I go, I'm a 60-something-year-old man. I'm a 60-something-year-old man. I don't need a bridge. You know, how many years of life am I going to get out of that thing? Slap the bad boy back in there. I won't do it, the dentist said. I will not do it because that is not professional practice for dentistry. Oh, in other words, there's more than an extraction of teeth that you're going to be performing here. It's an extraction of money out of my wallet. So I said, no, thanks. You know, I'm not doing it. I'm going home and I'm going to figure out how to do it. So I went home, I looked, I bought the kit through Amazon. I figured out how to strengthen the resin glue so it would make a permanent as opposed to a temporary cementing situation, you know, and I slapped that bad boy back in there, and that was 2.5 or 3 years ago. So it's lasted 3 years. So did I get my money's worth? I didn't pay the dentist the $3,000. I paid the dentist nothing. And went home and went on Amazon and found a kit for $50 and slapped that bad boy right in there. Okay, so Crystal is proposing that prices of food are skyrocketing because of corruption. But that may be true, but I haven't thought of it that way because I'm not that deep of a thinker. So in other words, when I go to the store, I'm looking at, okay, I need a kilo of pork, I need this, I need that. I got so much money in my wallet, and that's pretty much where my thinking comes to an end. So what happens in the background, behind it, I haven't even thought about. But now, Crystals, I'm interested in learning You know what that's all about. Yeah, you have to grow a vegetable garden for sure. And if it has onions in it, all the better. You know, if you grow onions, you could get rich, right? But I would imagine that people are growing hella onions right now. And so there's going to be actually, because people compensated because they thought they could get rich growing onions, everybody's going to be growing them. And then you're going to have a bumper crop of onions and the price is going to go down to nothing. You won't be able to give them away. $12 for 30 eggs. My goodness gracious. See, and so I know a lot of Filipino. Listen, I've been to the market. I've been to the public market. I've watched the look on their face. I have watched the look on their face, and it's sad. I feel bad. God darn it, I'm going to do something about it, you know? I'm going to do something about it, dang it. Because all I do is stand there with this look on my face like, that's sad. You know? I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure out a way to help somebody out with their groceries. Fresh duck egg here, a large one, costs 10 pesos. That's crazy. That's not crazy, Crystals. That's insane. The whole world has gone mad. BB Coys is here. Hi, BB Coys. Longtime supporter and friend. Yeah, and eggs is so valuable. It has so many good things into it. You could survive on eggs alone, Larry. And so you can't give up eggs. That was the thing I was trying to tell Ma'am Minnie the other day. You cannot. And she agrees. It has all the vitamins and proteins and minerals and all those tasty things that you need. You could survive only on eggs. So if you put it that way and you put it in perspective, you could give up pork and all these other things in favor of eggs. Not only for eggs for breakfast, but you could have breakfast for dinner. Heck, you could go to Denny's in Cebu at the Galleria, Robinson's Galleria. You can go into the Denny's and you could order an American Grand Slam and they will give you delicious eggs and pancakes, Larry. I would not advocate giving up eggs. No way. Just because the cost goes up. There's a point, though, that it may reach where you really have to think, you know. I mean, before I would give up eggs, I would give up a whole bunch of other stuff. All right, so now so we have the Dunkin' Donuts budget covered, right? Which is crazy. I need to be spanked. I need to be taken to the woodshed for the amount of money I spend in the Dunkin', right? I mean, if I didn't go to the Dunkin' every day, it's questionable whether that Dunkin' Donut franchise right there would be able to survive without me. So that's how much money I spend there. All right. So Crystal agrees with you, and she also agrees with me that eggs are really, really important. You could cut out a whole bunch of crap in favor of just eggs. So now where was I? Okay, we got the Dunkin' Donuts budget covered. I confessed about that. So now let's talk about the other thing that I have neglected. I think some of you have figured out what I'm going to talk about next. I'm talking about the beer budget. All right. I'm gonna make a confession. Even though I haven't had a single beer this week, and not because I'm abstaining from alcohol or anything like that. It's not because I made a conscious decision I'm going to abstain from alcohol. I just haven't had the opportunity nor the urge to bust open a painted label San Miguel Pilsner. Right? Anyway, I keep 2 cases of the big bottles on hand. I buy 2 cases every week, and I get kind of irritated if I go to where we store those and I see no beer on the shelf, because everybody knows in this household there has to be 2 cases of beer on the shelf at all times. And why is that? It's in case guests come over, and they often do because they know I have 2 cases of beer on the shelf. So they will come over and partake. Yeah, the motorcycle. Man, I wish I could get up the nerve to get on a scooter. I did it on one of my trips to Chiang Mai, Thailand, years ago, and it scared the daylights out of me. You know, it really did. You really have to know what you're doing on those bikes. And I just don't. I'm just a beginner. Mel, how are you? Hi, Mel. Thanks for being here. Thanks for dropping by. I see you posted something on the Facebook. I'm looking at it. And my condolences for the loss in your family. I know that feeling. For that kind of money, I would take a vacation to the Philippines, plus have the dental work done there. There you go. There you go. That's the way my mind works. My mind works that way, Larry. So I appreciate it that we're like thinkers. You know, so beer budget, I'm going to confess what the beer budget is. The beer budget turns out to be, I just kind of gave it to you because it's 2 cases of beer. And a case of beer is 550 pesos. We're talking about the painted label San Miguel Pilsner, the big bottles, 6 of them per case. So that's 12 bottles of beer on the wall. 12 bottles of beer on the wall, 12 bottles of beer. Don't get me started. So anyway, I get irritated when there aren't 2 cases there all the time. I get irritated. It's not because I'm an alcoholic and I drink, you know, like a fish. I don't. It's because if someone comes over, I want to be able to offer them something, right? And they appreciate it. Believe me, they appreciate it. So anyway, that budget runs $80 to $100 per month. So there you go. So there's 140 to 150 at the Dunkin' and $80 to $100 per month in 2 cases of beer. You add those 2 together, and you're looking at the cost of an apartment in Cebu. You see how I connected the dots there? Do you see how I went from there to there? Because the question is, if I'm not staying at the house in Bye-Bye, right, and I'm in Cebu, would I be storing 2 cases of beer? Probably not. I could use that money to pay for the apartment. So I have the budget. You know, I've sent my information out to the real estate people and friends and family that are living in Cebu. And I said, find me a place as close to Chung Wai as you can that's under $300 per month. That's my budget. I want it to be less. Because I want to be less, because I also want to look at having, you know, a place in Luzon. Maybe rent to own is the place is the way to go. And I'm opening my mind to it because of Crystals and Abby. They seem to know something about what's going on with apartment rentals. Maybe I'll be able to get. I like the idea of having a fixed payment every month. And maybe if you do rent to own, it'll be fixed. You know, it'll be fixed for the entire period of time that you're living there. I think many would like that idea too. As far as having somebody live there while I'm not occupying it, I kind of like that idea because I would help somebody out, you know? I would try and help somebody out. When I'm not living there, it doesn't make any sense to leave the place vacant. You know, so if I'm not going to be there for a month because we're going off to Vietnam or Cambodia or Laos or some other country unknown, but never Singapore, Seth. I'm never going to Singapore. because I'm low budget Dan. So you're not going to find me in Japan, and you're not going to find me in Singapore. I'm not going. No one can make me go. But I will do Malaysia. Minnie and I have talked about Malaysia. Malaysia's close, folks. Penang Island, it's close. So anyway, there's my plan. I revealed it to you. I revealed it to the entire world what my plan is. And the reason why I'm doing it is because you guys are going to you're going to help me make it happen. Because you'll send information to me that's going to be helpful, you already have. And then I'm going to take advantage of that information, and I'm going to go start seeking out, the dream. I'm going to fulfill the dream. Folks, by the way, I just reminded myself by saying those words, fulfilling the dream. Leonard is saying that Crystals is right, that inflation is being caused by corruption coming from somewhere. I have to be careful. I live in the Philippines. I'm not a citizen. I'm just a visitor, and so I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about domestic issues except, in a general sense. So I've talked about the inflation being a real thing. How inflation occurs is, I thought, the same way that it occurs in the United States. Cost of goods and services go up when demand wanes. So once the demand starts becoming restricted because of the costs, it's a circular argument. It becomes like a circular argument. And so the fewer things that you buy drives the production costs up. And so when the production costs go up, so does the final price of goods at the retail level. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So I got full dentures with full extraction for $10K. And I want to admit to you, Tim, that we've done that for friends. We've done that a couple of times for friends, where it got so bad that the only option was to extract and then go with dentures. I don't mind moving. I wouldn't mind moving to Tagaytay, but being able to shoot the crap with Tim every now and again, being face to face, it's so irresistible. It's a must do. Going to like San Fernando, Pampanga, and then hanging around with Tim once or twice a week. It's like a dream come true. But I am talking about making dreams come true. Okay, have a good day, Mel. And again, our condolences to your grandmother who passed away. You paid your grandmother a very, very nice tribute on Facebook. And I'm telling you, she couldn't have possibly had a better daughter than she had in you. So may she rest in peace, and we'll see her on the other side. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Now I'm sharing the dream with you guys because you're going to help me make it come true. You're going to help me make it come true by sharing of information, sharing your thoughts. You're putting ideas in my head, and there's no better community for getting ideas and information than the YouTube community, I've learned. As I say, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer because I appreciate and take everybody's contributions seriously here. I give it weight. I give it weight. Yeah, I know I can get really full of myself, but the truth of the matter is I spend a lot of time thinking about stuff that you guys have shared with me. Larry is talking about the egg thing. So I eat 2 to 4 eggs a day. Yes, you should be eating more, Larry. You should be eating like 6. They're good for you. They have everything in there that you need. I try to eat as many as I can. I had 2 this morning without rice. I did not have any rice this morning. I'm not eating rice anymore. Rice is going to kill you. It's going to give you diabetes. It's going to cause all kinds of harm. I'm talking about the white processed rice. I'm not talking about native rice or brown rice. But even though it's expensive, I've seen how people go shopping around in the Philippines for the rice, and I don't like it. It just makes me sad that they think they're getting great rice because they're picking it up with their hands and they're sniffing it and they're going, this is premium product because the flavors and the smells and the aroma and the shape and the color is so beautiful. Folks, trust me when I say most of that stuff is all fake. I agree, Dan. Eggs are the only superfood as long as you eat the yolk. You have to eat the yolk. Don't let anybody say the crap that the cholesterol in the yolk is bad for you. Don't let anybody tell you that. Leonard, you know this, right? I know you know this. I've heard you mention it, I think, before. Don't let anybody try and sell you that the cholesterol in the yolk is unhealthy or bad for you. It is not. You need it. Tim says the Denny's at SM Clark is supposed to open next month. Yay! Yay! I love hearing that. I love Denny's. And the reason why I do is because they carry over they have Filipino foods, of course, but they also have their traditional American menu. And so if you get that, you're going to see Grand Slam A, Grand Slam B, Grand Slam B, Grand Slam C, all you could eat pancakes. This syrup is going to be real syrup, Aunt Jemima. I mean, I don't know how they do it. I had a burger there one time that was, it tasted exactly like an American hamburger that you get in Denny's in the USA. I'll tell you, Tim, I have no idea how they do it. It scares me. It scares me because maybe they have some kind of a factory in the back that's dumbing up the food. I do not know how they're doing it, but I love it. Keep on doing what you're doing, Denny's. Don't ever give up the all-you-can-eat pancakes. Don't ever do away with the American Grand Slam. Oh, I love going in there. Now that I'm hearing that you're going to have one at SM Clark, oh my goodness gracious! I think I got to head your direction. So anyway, the first step in this whole move is, of course, to go to Cebu and to settle in, and look for a place. I don't know how long that's going to take. It would be nice to have places all set up to go that I can take a look at, or Mammy and I can take a look at. I love the rent to own idea, especially if that's going to keep the payment steady Eddie for the entire period of time that you're paying on that apartment. I love that idea. $750 is a monster. Yeah, that is a monster. BB Coys is in the house, and Menenge is still with us. Larice, the Philippines, the most eligible bachelorette and socialite, is still with us. Thank you so much, Larice. Thank you, all 10 people that are here in the chat. Don't forget to boost my watch hours. I know I need not say that to you guys in here because you guys have been pounding me with comments, and it's been killing me. So I do apologize if you ended up getting a heart as an answer. But no sooner do I get through 100 comments, another 100 are there to go through, another 100 are there to go through. So, I mean, I really appreciate it. It's making me feel truly special. Yeah, really special. Thank you so much. Let's see. Tim says, Larry, if you come here for dental, you will save money even buying the airfare. Yeah, and that's what Larry was saying. You get the dental work done and a free trip to the Philippines. But listen, I don't want to get everybody excited about going to the dentist. I mean, because I explained to you how I have the resin kit here. That was one of the things that we brought in a Balikbayan box. That was one of the things we brought in 15 or 20 Balikbayan boxes. Everything in Sacramento is here that was shipped, in Balikbayan boxes, extra large through LBC. It all made it. We didn't lose a single one. And along was that dental resin. And so before I ever go have the dental work done, I'm going to, if it falls out, if this tooth falls out, then what's going to end up happening is that I will try and cement it back into place. That's the first step, right? It's like repairing a car. You don't take the engine out of the car if something goes wrong with it. You don't take well, a motorcycle you do, Crystals, I'll admit that, but not a car. The car, you start with the most simplest thing and you build up. You just start going A, B, C, D, until you get up to the thing that's going to cost you the most money, right? You start first checking the battery, checking the oil, doing all the things that you can do, making sure it has water and coolant, and you approach it like that before you end up in the dentist. But what I am doing is I'm letting you know here and now that I will be in the dentist chair, but it will be so the dentist can do an impression, because I want to make sure that dentist has the impression of the teeth already there on file, so that we're one step ahead of the building of the crown in case I need it. That's only a smart thing to do. Of course it is. It's not domestic. It is worldwide. That's true. And so, listen, in the United States, it cracks me up because they try and hide everything beneath the surface. And you know the reason why I love the Philippines so much. You know, I don't have to guess. I don't have to guess. You know, in other words, it's right there. You know, right there in front of you. So you know what I'm talking about. I think most people in the chat know what I'm talking about. Yes. Yay, yay, USA. Sis boom ba. Yeah, we're sorry for your loss, Mel. We know you cared for her, you know, because you were posting it on Facebook last time. And so it must be a tremendous loss for you. May she rest in peace. I believe that permanent dentures is the best way to go, but I'm too cheap for that. When the time comes, if it ever does come, I'm just gonna, you know, take them all out and put in the temporary one, $200. You know, you're done. $200. In and out. Boom. One day extract them, you know, and wait for them to heal. Next day go in there, let them take the impressions, you know, however they do it. Anyway, I'm going to go into the dentist so they have the impressions on file. And they don't do that here in Bye Bye City. You have to go to Cebu. They do it in Ormoc, but, you know, I'd rather go to Cebu and have it done. We'll be good to go. Let's see. Good cholesterol is low and my bad cholesterol is high. I caution you on taking medications to adjust that. I'm more like Leonard Lunn. You know, you have to figure out the foods that will boost the good cholesterol. That's the place to start. Go on Google and start searching around for foods that raise the good cholesterol and lower the bad. And I have no doubt in my mind's eye that you would be successful finding that information. So let me go through the chat, see what's going on here. 11 here. Thank you all, 11, for being here. I truly appreciate it. Yeah, Mel, I apologize too. You know, I've been lazy. Most people know that I've been very, very lazy lately, you know, almost to the point. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. You know, I'm not sure what's going on with me, but lately I've been watching a lot of live streams, you know, of stuff that's being shown live in the United States, like Bakersfield Live, you know, or Dad's Gone Live. I've been doing I've been spending a lot of time in there because I like the police chases and things like that. I like the police shootouts. You know, I mean, a lot of interesting stuff happens on those live streams. And so, you know, you can sit there, you know, and start watching the live stream as they're traveling in their trucks and their cars through Bakersfield or Los Angeles, watching them follow the calls for service of the police officers. I mean, because those are quite violent cities with high crime rates. And the next thing you know, you look up at the clock and hours have gone by. Thank you, Larice. Thank you so much. Any contribution that I'm all ears. Any contribution that you want to send me through the messenger, I'm all ears. In terms of ideas as to where I can rent and how much money I should be spending. We're getting with Larice soon. You know, I've already talked to Mam Minnie about this. Larice we're gonna figure out a way to, when we're in Manila, we're gonna figure out a way to reach out to Larice and get her to Manila so we can meet. Except that Larice will have to keep my secrets. Usually secrets are revealed in those meetings, you know, who the real Dan is and who the real Mam Minnie is and stuff like that. Some people are shocked to discover, you know, that we're real people. Yeah, anyway. But we're going to make that happen. Oh, F12 series. Best customizable bikes ever. There you go. He be knowing what he's talking about. Peter Barbaria. Daniel, the impression to get a proper fit for the gums. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have them take the impression of the front, you know, so they know how my teeth are fitting, you know, because I have a slight overbite. And so I'd rather have an overbite than an underbite. I just want to make sure when you start losing like things like these false teeth that I have to replace, I'm sure one, then there'll be two. I've had these front teeth for the better part of 20 years. You know, it's amazing that they've lasted this long. It really is. But I want to make sure that they put them back in exactly the way that they were taken out. And so I want them to have first do an impression of where the teeth are sitting. Someone said that if you go to Lazada or Shopee, they sell a kit, and you could do your own impressions and actually build your own resin or porcelain teeth. Someone told me. I don't know if that's true or not. I learned that here on YouTube also, but I'm going to check it out. No. Please don't call me up saying, Dan, I need dental work, and can you see through to make a crown for me? No, I can't do that. That would be going way beyond, you know, the YouTube thing, you know. Oh, wow. Saracens, exclusively Honda 754s. Okay, I got it. Wow. Tim, I would worry more about the triglycerides than the LDEC. There you go. My belief is he'd be knowing what he's talking about. The Dunkin' Donuts, yeah, because I started to talk about the carburetors last time. I meant carbs, of course. You need carbs. I call them carburetors because you need carbs for fuel, you know, but you have to restrict your intake of carbs, or I do. And so that's the big challenge. The big challenge is you got to go to work to restrict the carbs, because your body is screaming for them. You know, give me bread, give me rice, give me carbs, give me potato chips. You know, it's screaming for them. And you have to give me a donut, give me a Dunkin' Donut, and you have to figure out how to defeat. See, it's all happening here in the brain. I know that it's all happening here in the brain, and I got to figure out how to trick my brain into believing that its fulfillment of carbs has occurred. The daily fulfillment of carbs has occurred. I think it happens through meditation. But someone may have to, Mam Minnie may have to just simply tie me to a chair during mealtime, or whenever, whenever I get, so I want to reach for a carb, somebody has to slap me. It has to be negative reinforcement, or is that positive reinforcement? It has to be where, like, oh, I know, maybe it needs to be a rubber band tied around my wrist. And then every time I'm hungry, I snap it, snap it, snap it, snap it. That way I can make myself aware of what's going on, move the thought from the subconscious mind to the conscious mind. Something like that. I'll have to go on YouTube and I'll have to watch a video. Everything is in the normal range, Tim. That's good. I'd hate for everything to be in the abnormal range. I mean everything else. Girly Senna's in the house waving. Girly Senna, thanks so much for stopping by. Truly appreciate you. And the bike thing, listen, my whole interest in motorcycles ended with the Yamaha 250 RD accident. I had, some of you know the story about how I got hit by a car and I got taken out of service for a year. I just had finished my training at LA Trade Tech College. Just got a phone call from Los Angeles Music Center Pavilion. That's the place where they used to have the Academy Awards. And they had offered me a position as a trainee, an apprentice. I was going to start from the very, very beginning. Garde manger, the first level in chef's training. I'd just gotten the news, and I had told I was living with my brother in an apartment in Rowland Heights, California. That's Southern Cal. I don't know if you people know where it's at. I got on that RD 250 to take a ride down to 7-Eleven to give me a Coke in celebration, not because I wanted large testicles. It was because I wanted to celebrate that they had offered me the position I had applied for. And on the way there, bam, I got hit. The classic left turn into the motorcycle leg on the left side took me out for an entire year. Changed the trajectory of my life forever. That's the way it happens, folks. That's the way it happens. That's life. That's life. Thank you for sharing, Girly Senna. I so much appreciate you. Manuel's here. Manuel, brother from a different mother. I sure enjoyed our visit with you when we were in Manila. I had such a fun time. Hey, going over to the club, we had the best time ever. Sitting there, listen, you go there to the club. The reason why you go to the club is to people watch. It's not necessary to throw back 40s, right? It's to people watch, right? Not to drink beer and get drunk. And we had one hell of a nice time there, watching the world go by. That was Manuel, Mam, Minnie, and I. And because we had such a great time, I think we'll do that every single time that we come to Manila. And hopefully we can talk Larissa into joining us next time. Angela, thanks so much for the virtual hug, for sending virtual hugs our way. Angela's in the house, folks. 10 people in the house. Thank you so much for the support. I truly appreciate your support. I truly do. So, Dan, I voluntary. All right, what did I miss? Get Minnie a wooden ruler. Oh, so she can smack me around. Yeah, but the whole thing is Minnie wouldn't go for it because she knows I like it, Larry. I like it too much. Tie me to the chair so I won't eat. You really do have a daily requirement of carbs. With no carbs, you convert to using ketones for fuel. And is that good or bad, Leonard? Is that where people become a ketone diabetic? I'm not sure what a ketone is. Mindsets are dangerous. Yes, crystals. Yes, it's about having the right mindset. So the last few days, I have not had a donut. I have had the coffee, black, by the way, no sugar, no cream. But I have been avoiding the donuts the last couple of days, right? But people are starting to, they're starting to change my nickname. You know, usually I go walking into the Dunkin' Donuts and they say, "Oh, hi, Donut Dan," like that. But now I notice if they don't see me buy a donut, they start asking me, "Aren't you going to have a donut today?" And sometimes the pressure is too great, Girly Santa. The pressure is too great. And I have to actually get Minnie to go up there and get me one of those high carburetor Dunkin' Donut Bavarian cream specials. I know I don't have to get the worst donut that's for you, but I do. And then I come over and I place it on the tray, and then I kind of pick at it, and then if you pick at it and you put one piece in your mouth, you will eat the whole thing. I've discovered. That's one of the laws of physics. Yeah, if not for that accident, yes, if I had not killed that butterfly, my entire life would have been different. Is that what you're saying, Larry? But yes, it most likely was instrumental in my entire life going south. Oh, that's so funny. Manuel Soriano, the brother from a different mother. Yes, and he is truly my brother. He's a good man. That's a hardworking man, provides for his family, raised great kids, sacrificed, him and his wife, sacrificed for those kids, educational success. I truly, truly admire the man. That is like, that's burning fat for fuel, and no such thing as a keto diabetic. Hey, I make it up as I go along. Leonard, you know me by now. I just make it up as I go along. Remember on Larry Lee's post. I make no apologies for lying, and that's the truth. I thought that was funny. They are. So folks, if you're diabetic, pay attention to what Leonard Lund is telling you, because this is the cure. And so pay attention. I know this. And so the struggle is the rice. You want to eat rice with every meal. It's a struggle. I've turned into a riceaholic. I'm not kidding you, folks. I really have. I love rice. I know I critiqued earlier the person scooping up the rice and then going like this and smelling the aroma, and looking at the rice to make sure it's bleached white. I'm that guy. I'm that guy that does that. I cannot go rice shopping any longer because it's dangerous. I'm dangerous in front of a sack of rice. I will put my entire face into a bag of rice so I get that aroma, to feel it in my hand, to feel, is this good rice? It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassing Ma'am Minnie when I go shopping. She doesn't even want me to shop with her anymore. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, well listen, I covered, let's see, I'm going to look at my list. I had a list of stuff. I talked about the rent and the reason why we want to go to Cebu. And I talked about how I haven't been completely honest about the budget because I've been neglecting to plug in there the money I spend for the donuts and the money I spend, for beer. And so I guess in this lineup is changing my behavior that way, The truth of the matter is that Ma'am Minnie and I, we don't want for much. And the problem with that idea is we don't keep an accurate track of what we're spending. And when you go back and you take a look at it, all I could say is we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. So I would rather take that money that we're spending on the beer and the donuts, right? And give the money to you. Not you, Leonard. I mean, I like you well enough. I like you well enough and all, but I'm talking about I'd rather give it to people that need it. My Filipina sisters, you know, that's where I'd rather give the money. The people that need it, you know, that will listen. If I on YouTube, I've given away some ducats. I know that no matter who I give it to or how much money I give, it's money well spent. I have a budget for that too, and I didn't include that in the budget, right? I spend in monetary support either because I'm members of people's channels or because I send money every month to people who, you know, who I admire or who sometimes they don't even ask me. I just send it. I send my budget. I'm going to be honest with you. My budget is approaching somewhere around $125 and $150 per month. So that is my Filipina YouTube budget. And so I make no apologies for that. You know, I make no apologies for giving away money. You know, I will not make any apologies for that. Seth is here. Good morning, Seth. How you doing? When are you going to Japan or Singapore? Let's see. Peter says, rice flour is not the poor man's cocaine, Tim. Oh, okay. I didn't mean to start a fight here. I did not mean to start a fight. I was just telling you, I was just sharing with you how I've become a riceaholic. You know, and so I know that I got to watch the carbs. I'm not saying cut out rice completely. I didn't say that. Or if I said that, I misspoke. I'm talking about you have to watch your carb intake. I was talking about it in a way general sense. And a few of you pointed out that potatoes and rice aren't the greatest carbs that you can consume. And I believe that. And so what you have to do is you have to really pay attention to what kind of rice you're eating. So there's no way that I would ever be able to give up rice. It's impossible. I crave it too much, you know? And so, but what I could do is I could watch what type of rice that I'm eating, you know? I could watch it and I could go more towards the native rice. Eat the rice that God intended me to eat, you know, not the stuff that is being bleached and imported, you know, local native rice. But that is easier said than done. It's easier said than done. So I want you guys to understand, I realize this is not an easy thing to do, an easy thing that to be accomplished. Yeah. So, Peter, they actually sniff the grains of rice. Yes, because you can smell those perfumes that they put in there, you know, and you could smell it when you eat it. That's the other thing. And it's a beautiful aroma. And that's one of the things that gets you to buy the rice. You know, but all I was saying was I was implying that, but I would not know because I don't work in the bleaching factory that those are added to the rice. That's all I'm saying. I'm just proposing it. I don't know for sure. I've never worked there. You know, I've never worked there. I don't know how they process the rice. I just know that folks should stay away from the processed rice, you know, or they should watch it, you know. The native rice. Why would, you know, I mean, the Philippines is becoming the largest importer of rice in the world, but why when you could grow it here? I just don't understand how things work. You know, I really don't understand how things work here. Tim, that's good. Good for you. That's why you're so dang skinny. You know, me, I'm just plumping out. I'm just plump, 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 plump. I mean, I'm sitting here and I can feel myself gaining 10 pounds. Yeah. I got it bad, folks. I start talking about rice. I want to go over to the rice cooker and grab me some. But anyway, that isn't going to happen because we're late for our appointment at the Dunkin'. It's Man Minnie and I. If you show up over there at the Dunkin' next to Prince Mall, all you have to do is come in and say hello, and I will buy you a Bavarian cream donut. You know what? That'll keep me from eating it, quite frankly. That will most likely keep me from eating it. And since I know that there are hundreds of YouTube vloggers living here in Bye Bye City, I know somebody is going to be within earshot of that, or listening range. And you most likely will take me up on my offer. So we're going to head over there. Mammy and I, we're going to head over there now. And we're going to grab a cup of coffee. No donut. Only donut is for you if you want it. Did you guys just hear what I said? I said, I'm not eating anymore, but if you want one, I'll buy you one. I'll make you fat. But anyway, that's one more sign of Western influence, by the way, guys, is weight gain. Just wanted to point that out. You know, that's one more sign of Western influence. And so I was going to share with you, guys, listen, I'm nervous about this. I was going to share with you on Larry's Live. See, I realized that I made a complete fool of myself because I realized that I use the example that you can tell that the American influence by the commercials that are being played on YouTube. And then it escaped me. You know, I made a fool of myself because the commercials that they play in the States are not the same commercials that they play here in the Philippines. They play commercials that are directed towards Filipinas and Filipinos, but not Filipinos necessarily. Filipinos mostly because they're the ones that are going to hold the economic power in the future, just like they will in the West. And so I made a fool of myself because I wasn't able to give an example, nor did I state that I was talking about commercials that they play on YouTube in the Philippines or in Southeast Asia. So what I did was I had my video editor go in and do some video grabs of commercials that show up on YouTube. And then I was going to play them here for you today in illustrating my point that the West is moving east, right? And that's why the cost of goods and services are starting to climb. That and the fact that we have more Westerners living here in the East than we've ever had in the entire history of the United States. Of course, that country is not that old, you know. Tim says, I'm still within 10 pounds of my entry weight going into the military. That's fantastic. You should go enlist, Tim. Because I heard they're at Clark. Tim, I was going to ask you this. Have you seen them hanging around? Someone told me, Tim, that they're already seeing military personnel at Clark Air Force Base. What I would like to know is, are they showing up on the walking street? That's what I'd like to know. Keep your eye out, and maybe we'll interview you for a video. When they start showing up, you could let us know. I'm with Tim. You can't fatten a thoroughbred. That was good. That was good. You basically insulted me. All right. Listen, I'm going to play the commercials for you next time as soon as I learn how to do it. Now, my video editor showed me it's just 2 clicks. You know, you click over here, click over there, and boom, the video comes up on the screen. But anyway, I'm going to have my video editor walking me through it, you know, so that I really feel confident that I'm doing it right. You know, we'll do a couple of practice live streams. We'll record them. I want to make sure that I don't make too much of a fool out of myself, not like I did here today. So we're going to save those commercials to show you next time what's happening here in the Philippines. Of course, if you live here, you already know what's happening in the Philippines. We're getting bombarded with commercials on YouTube for Jollibee, for Chowking, for all these convenience foods. And then we're getting pressured from our kids. We're getting pressure from our children. Mommy, why can't I go why can't we go to Jollibee? And they're putting tremendous amounts of pressure on the parents to earn more money so they could spend it in Jollibee, or they could spend it. Now, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of promoting Jollibee. I'm guilty. See? You see? Is that right? Is that right? So I'm not telling you not to eat there, by the way, but you have to do everything in moderation. You know, I'm not saying don't give them their due. I love capitalism. I love free enterprise. But I'm also a socialist. I don't know how that works. Not really. I'm just making jokes here. If Dan's lips are moving, he's joking most of the time. So you see the dilemma here. You know, it's going to cause the parents to go nuts working those they're going to be working full-time, part-time jobs if they're available. But they will be, because the military is coming back and they're going to be hiring support staff. They're not going to leave personnel hanging. They're going to be here supporting the staff with all those things that they're used to in the West. And so it's going to happen. I'm almost sure of it. If it doesn't, I will be very, very surprised. But if it doesn't happen the way I'm thinking it's going to happen, I will own up to it. I will admit it. And I will tell you that I was wrong. Larry, if you're still here, which I think you are, can you lead us out of this live stream? We're all done for today. You're not gaining weight. Well, it doesn't mean that you'll automatically gain weight, Crystals. It all depends on your metabolism. But you're the hardest working woman that I know in the entire world. So there. I watched a video about Asiana airline flight and saw Singapore Airlines commercial. That's what I'm talking about. They're only going to give you the delivery of those commercials if there are people that can afford to buy those tickets. And that's what I'm talking about. Thanks, Tim, for chiming in. Keep an eye out for those military personnel. My friends are telling me that they're starting to show up at Clark. They're already the advanced men and women showing up at Clark. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Stay safe and healthy, plus always try to have fun. Thanks so much for coming to the live. I truly appreciate you. I truly appreciate the support. We may be adding a live stream on Wednesday. I'll let you know. Keep an eye on it. We're working out the details. It'll help us get those watch hours up. Thanks so much for being here. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.